Since then, I've had to have two more hip replacements because I wore them out.
Welcome to 10 Minute Travels. With me, as always, is Phil Freeman.
And with me, as always, is Shane Patrick. And we have with us Charles Fleming, adventurer, journalist, motorcyclist. And if you want to learn anything more about 10 Minute Travels or what we do, check out 10minutetravels.com.
Let's get right to it, shall we? Man, you have made so many things pop into my head. Like the steepest city in the world, Dunedin in New Zealand. There's a staircase there. Have you walked up that?
I haven't, but my older daughter did a couple of semesters abroad in New Zealand, and she happened to be rooming with a woman who was an artist who lived in New Zealand. She was housed there during her university time, and the woman said to her, I'm fascinated by walking here. I'm thinking of doing some research and writing about the staircases in New Zealand." And my daughter said, "Well, can I make a suggestion?" and bought her a copy of my book. So yeah, it's one of the reasons I want to go to New Zealand, also because Phil and a couple of others have said the riding there is, otherworldly, and the landscape is otherworldly. So it's on my bucket list to go.
Yeah, at the top of that staircase. I mean, I haven't been there in a long time, but there was a bench and because there's a nice view and a water fountain and about 1 million cigarette butts.
Oh, nice.
So presumably people get to the top and reward themselves. And
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I'm familiar with that. One of the other things that I started doing here about 10 or 15 years ago is I have a dog. We've always had dogs, and I walk the dog every afternoon. And I got so sick of seeing rubbish along the streets of Silver Lake that I started carrying a bag and a grabber stick. So I go out every day, and my dog and I walk for an hour and a half, and he pees on bushes, and I pick up cigarette butts and bottle caps and candy wrappers and the tops of, beer bottles and all the other rubbish that gets, thrown out of cars or left behind. Every once in a while, we come across, it's like a diorama of an evening. It's like, well, there's the cigarette butts. There's an end of a blunt, it looks like. Here's the McDonald's wrappers. Here's the beer bottles. Here's a little pint of whiskey, it looks like. Oh, and there's a used condom. Like, they had a whole party right here and left it all behind for us to look at.
Yeah, it's funny, like when you're going slow like that, walking, riding bikes, pedal bikes, not motorcycles, you see all that stuff. And one of them that's been fascinating to me forever is all of the single shoes. How do people lose one shoe?
It's a real puzzle, or one sock, or yeah, or other things. I saw a burning sofa on a freeway, and it's been a puzzle to me ever since. Like, did it catch on fire after it fell out of the truck, or did they push it out of the truck because it was on fire? And how did it get on fire? Like, there are these mysteries, the garbage mysteries of the world.
Right.
Why is there one shoe? A lot of caps. I could have an entire collection of caps. Somehow people lose caps a lot. I think it must the one I always think the one shoe thing, it must have some connection to drug and alcohol abuse. I can only think that somebody's waking up in the morning somewhere going, "Damn, where's my other shoe?" And if they would only call me, I would say, I have your shoe. I know where it is. It's in a bush on Sunset Boulevard, right at the corner of Maltman. Come on down. It still looks pretty good. But yes.
And
Go ahead, Phil.
what's fascinating to me is the human body. You started walking and you literally saved yourself. Your body.
It's been a series of that. I mean, when I had my first, I was diagnosed in about 96 with this blood disease that had been brought on uh, warning for listeners who abuse things too much, brought on by alcohol abuse. And they said, you need two hip replacements, really. The bones are all rotten, and that's why you can't walk. It hurts all the time. And so I had a hip replacement. And then sure enough, a year later, I had to have another hip replacement. And they told me all the things that I couldn't do. They said, tennis, you can't play tennis anymore because of all the short, stopping and quick starts and hard stops. And, that's too hard on your hips. You can't do that anymore. And you can't ski. You can never ski again because, one leg going this way, one leg going that way, very, very bad on the hips. And you can't run. You can do some walking, but gentle. You have to be gentle. And within a few years, I was back on the tennis court. I figured skiing, they didn't say anything about snowboarding. So I took up snowboarding, gave up skiing, took up snowboarding.
Nice workaround.
And, started bicycling again. They had said motorcycling, yes, on the street, if you're careful, but not in the dirt. You can't ride in the dirt because people fall down in the dirt. I was back riding dirt. And then I started having these back problems. And, each of those was, it was a big surgery. It was months and months and months of rehab before. I think the first hip surgery, it was about 8 months before I could get back on the tennis court. The second surgery, it was about 8 months before I could get back on the tennis court. So, then I broke a leg. So that's some rehab and some time there. Then the spinal surgery and the other spinal surgery. And pretty soon they didn't have to tell me what I couldn't do. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't ride a bike. I couldn't get on a motorcycle. I could never have thought about, anything like snowboarding or tennis. Forget it. I was just in so much pain all the time that none of that was possible. But, then I started the walking and I started to get stronger. And gradually I started putting things back in my life. I started hiking, and then I started playing tennis, and then I went back to motorcycle riding, and I started snowboarding again. And all of the stuff that had just been, removed for me filtered back in, and I was able to start doing all that stuff again and then add stuff to it. I took up scuba recently because I just thought, I'm not going to get any younger, apparently, and I'm probably not going to get any stronger. And I'm probably, what are you waiting for? I've been wanting to do it for years. So I gave myself a 70th birthday present of getting certified for scuba. And now I'm completely obsessed with it, and it's all I can think about. Except I did ride motorcycles in the desert all day Saturday, and then I rode street motorcycles with my oldest daughter, who has taken up riding all day yesterday. So a lot of stuff that was taken away has come back. And oddly, it's really just because of the walking was the thing that happened to be the solution to my particular problems.
Wow, that's hope.
And since then, I've had to have 2 more hip replacements because I wore them out. When I had my second hip replacement, after the surgeon was all done with me, he said, "Well, I hope we meet again someday." And I said, "Why would you say that? Why would you say that?" He said, "Well, because if I do meet you again as a patient, it'll be because you've lived a long time and you've been active enough that you've worn these out, because we know they only last 15 or 20 years. And so sure enough, 20 years later, I was back and he said, "Oh, we meet again." Congratulations.
Did he give you a discount or anything?
No, but I have pretty good health care, so it didn't cost me. And it was worth every penny. I had to go through another, the rehab again. And then 2 years later, the other one went out, so I had to go through a rehab again. But I'm a walking miracle in a way, because I'm not even supposed to be here. The kind of life that I was living, I'm not even supposed to be on the planet, or still be married, or have kids, or have a brand new grandchild, which happened to me 3 months ago, or be doing any of the stuff that I'm doing.
That was Charles Fleming, journalist, adventurer, walker. And if you want to learn anything else about 10-minute travels or whatever we do, check out 10minutetravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure. And please like, subscribe, and share this podcast on all the platforms.